Thanks for checking out this question from our daily live Zoom calls. Please like and subscribe to keep learning how we help the largest online community of self-directed retirement investors and entrepreneurs grow and control their retirement funds. So here the question is, I'm 69 years old and made my first distribution from my solo 401k. I know a 20% tax must be paid through the government's EFTPS webpage. I know to use my trust name and EIN number. The next section is for bank, routing, and accounting info. Question 1, is my trust paying the tax from my trust's bank account? Question 2, is this considered a distribution? And if so, do I include 20% more for the tax portion? 3, you have a Google form page for collecting distribution info so a 1099 could be created. Do I fill that form for each distribution or once after all distributions have been made for the year? All right, well, great question. Thanks so much for bringing the good question. So like I said, I want to pull up some resources here because we have a tremendous amount of resources on our website, mysolo401k.net. And all the compliance support is one of the top reasons clients set up accounts with us. Like you alluded to with the 1099-R. So I want to be able to show and highlight where other folks that are following along can find all this good information. All right, so okay, so anytime you're talking about taking a distribution where you're taking money out of the solo 401k, or even if you're rolling it to another retirement account. But like in this case, where you're taking it out of the solo 401k to put into your personal account, you've got to consider the distribution rules, right? Because as a general matter, you're not going to be able to take money out of the solo 401k until you're at least 59 and a half. That's the general rule. It's a little bit more complicated than that because you have to look at the source of the money, whether it's after tax or rollover, but that's the general rule. And there's a fantastic page from by Mark Nolan, which I've got here on the screen regarding making solo 401k distributions. So I'll chat that over. You can circle back to that later. But that really goes in detail about the whole source analysis and what you can roll over, et cetera. But like in this case here with this question presented, obviously the person is eligible because they're 69 years old. Because again, they're over 59 and a half years of age. And so if you're talking about taking a taxable distribution from the solo 401k, yes, you've got to satisfy a withholding requirement, which, as noted in the question, is paid through the government's EFTPS webpage, and that's 20% of the amount of the distribution. So if you have a $10,000 distribution, 20% is going to be $2,000. So this is really a withholding, right? It's not paying up the tax or the penalty that may apply. Of course, if you're over 59, with being 69 years old, there's not going to be a penalty, but there's certainly going to be a tax, right? So as the name indicates, it's withheld, right? So if you have a $10,000 distribution, right, $8,000 goes into your personal account and $2,000 goes from the solo 401k, and it's paid through that EFTPS system by the 15th of the month following the date of the distribution. So that really answers the first two questions there, right? It's coming from the solo 401k account, whether it's the bank or the brokerage account. Yes, it's considered a distribution, so you got to consider the distribution rules, and the 20% is coming from those funds. So if you want to have more than $8,000 in your pocket, and then our simple example, you're gonna have to take more than 10,000, right? Because you got to factor in the 20% withholding requirement. Now, as far as our services, we handle preparation and submission to the IRS of the required 1099-R. So when one is taking a distribution from their solo 401k account, that's going to be a transaction that has to be reported on the 1099-R. And the way that we capture that information is we have an online form that our clients can use 24/7 to provide us the information that we need, so their plan can get in the queue for that 1099-R to be prepared. And if somebody is taking more than one distribution during the year, all that information is going to be aggregated and reported on one 1099-R. But you need to complete the online form for each distribution to make sure, number one, that you do it. Number two, it's going to create that good paper trail and that good practice so that you don't forget about it, doesn't fall through the cracks. And so where can you find that online form? If you go to our website, mysolo401k.net, in the upper right, if you click on forms, you can see all the online forms are linked here. If it's a pre-tax, say, let's say it's a distribution from your pre-tax account, it's a partial distribution, you would click there. As you can see, there's a tremendous amount of good information there about the withholding requirement. And then you just click through the online form to send us the information. So hopefully that helps. Thank you so much for bringing the good questions. Let us know if you have any follow-up questions.